So this next thing that I'm going to show you is for more advanced drawing with a vanishing point. So I'm going to put my vanishing point there in the middle. When you want to draw things that either have foreshortening, where one part looks much bigger than another part, or if you want to draw things that look like they're going back to the vanishing point, but they're a little more complicated. So option 1. I will use my handy dandy model here for option 1. So that's my model. And option 1 is to draw your more complicated objects facing the vanishing point. So if you want this lovely lady to look like she's getting sucked in, maybe angle her towards the vanishing point. That's the first little trick I have for you guys. So instead of just drawing somebody standing up or an animal or a creature just standing up, try to see if you can maybe angle them towards the vanishing point. Even if they're going off the edge of the paper, if you draw them and they're kind of facing the vanishing point, it'll kind of naturally look like they're going in. So that's my first tip. Do you see how she kind of looks like she's getting sucked into the vanishing point? Ah! So that's my first tip for you guys. If you want to get a little bit more complicated with this, you can. So option 2, if you want to try it, comes from the days where you learn to write. So here we go. Jump in your time machine, everybody, and let's go back to kindergarten. You ready? Bloop. Welcome, boys and girls, to kindergarten. When you were in kindergarten and you started to learn to write, you probably had something on your paper that looked like a little road. And usually you drew this great picture up here, and down below you had this road that looks kind of bumpy on the screen with the paper. But you had this road, and when you drew things, or wrote things, I'm sorry, you know me, I'm always drawing. You had to use the road, and you would go all the way to the top and all the way to the bottom. And then you would write things, and sometimes you'd use the middle, and you would learn to write. Did you guys use the guidelines of the road in kindergarten when you were learning to write? We're going to do the same thing, but we're going to make the road crazy. Are you ready? No, you're not ready for this. You think you are, but no way. So here we go. Kindergarten road, except my road's going to go to the vanishing point. And my road now looks like the world's longest, skinniest triangle. I can even put the dashes in the middle. What? And basically, you're going to do the same thing, whatever you're drawing, whether it's letters, boxes, people, animals. They're going to start at the bottom of the road and go to the top, but they're going to do that whether your road is skinny or thick. So I'm going to do that with my letters again. And they're going to go all the way from the bottom, all the way to the top, all the way from the top, down to the bottom, all the way from the bottom, halfway, and all the way up. Do you see how I just did that? And remember, you guys know how to do letters. So if you're doing any kind of letters, you're going to go and make them boxy. Maybe you're looking at a visual resource. Maybe they're curly, like the Coca-Cola. And you're going to make them really awesome art letters. But you're going to use that same little road guideline where you go from top to bottom. But if you do that using 1-point perspective, your road makes your letters automatically foreshorten. So the A is a lot smaller than the T is. That's kind of crazy. That's another option you guys can use. And if you want to do that, it is a little more complicated, but it really does make things look like they're getting sucked in. I'm going to show you real quick the next step, whether you're getting really complicated or not. Even if you're drawing a very basic shape, peek up here, because the next step for everybody, maybe you're ready for this today, maybe not, maybe tomorrow, but the next step will be to use your ruler and a Sharpie to outline things with marker. So anything that you finalize, make sure you use your ruler if you did the first time, or even if I didn't the first time, now I can use it to make it fabulous, and you're going to outline. And I heard one of my other classes today talking and doing some cool things with the thickness of their lines and their markers, and they were making some things really thick, maybe if they were closer, farther away, some things thinner, some things they were leaving with pencil. So you really have a lot of options, and you can very quietly collaborate with your table mates and get some of their opinions, or if you discover something cool, you could definitely share that with them. So here's my T. I'm going over it. And then when you're ready, oh, see, that kind of fixed my line a little bit using the ruler. When you're all set and you have all your lines going over with Sharpie and you went over everything, you can then very carefully use your eraser to erase. But when you do that, hold your paper. Has that ever happened to you guys where you're erasing an art and you accidentally catch your paper and wrinkle it all up? Has that happened to anybody yet? Yeah. I hope that never happens to you, but if it has, you know what I'm talking about. But try not to let it happen to you. You can use your kneaded eraser. It's okay if not every single bit of your line goes away because we will be adding color, but that's kind of my last step. Sometimes I even like a little bit of my lines that go to the vanishing point because they give it some motion and movement. And when you erase it, then you go, oh shoot, I forgot something, or oh, I'm gonna make that part of the line thicker or thinner. And you could really play around with it. I have thicker Sharpies in your bins. I have thinner Sharpies on the table. And you guys can really help yourself. I even have colored Sharpies. And tomorrow we'll talk more about color, but you're gonna have more and more options as you go. Any questions, Danielle? I saw your hand before. Did you wanna ask a question?
No, he said that it's the point.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? There's a really cool drawing underneath, so I covered it with paper so we can have the best of both. All right, guys, we have 25 minutes left to just relax and draw and get a lot done.